Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Sportscast Jersey. Today we are joined by a couple of Gaelic football players from Jersey, Fern and Eunan. How are we both doing?
Yeah, great, thank
Yeah, good, mate,
you.
good. How are you?
Good. Good. Yeah, not bad, thanks. Not bad, thanks. Before we let's get started straight away and go straight into Gaelic football. A lot of people might have heard of it through social media or seen clips on social media, but in a nutshell, what is the sport about? How is it played, and how would you describe it basically?
So Gaelic football is one of Ireland's national sports, along with along with hurling, and then you have camogie as well. It's it's kind of a mixture of football, rugby, basketball. It kind of integrates, correlates all together at the same time. Um, it can be played by both men and women. The idea is if you score a goal, it's 3 points. If you kick it over the bar between the big posts, it's a point. Can only take 4 steps with the ball. And then you have to either solo it back into your hands, which is like a keep you up into your hands, or you can bounce it. And then contact wise is somewhat of a grayish area, but it's shoulder to shoulder. And yeah, it's good fun. I think everyone who kind of has seemed to join our club and played it has stuck around now for a while.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to ask you both, how did you first hear about it, and do you remember the first time you went up and played as well?
So yeah, for me, how I first heard about it was at the time I was living with a guy who just came over from Ireland for a work placement, and he actually asked me to take him up to Gaelic football because he found the club through Facebook, just searching because he was missing home. So I took him up to Granville and I was just watching. And then I took him up the next week and the guys were like, why don't you just join? Why not, give it a go? And I was like, why not? Okay. So I came up the next time, gave it a go, and since then I stuck around and it's been nearly 3 years after.
Yeah, amazing.
Uh,
Yeah, for me, it was probably like being born in Ireland and kind of growing up there, and then having the roots back in home in Ireland again. You just kind of seen it being played on TV. I would have played Gaelic football with my cousins, kind of growing up. Um, Nothing too crazy, just in someone's backyard of some sort, anyway. And then I think when I was about 17, 18, there was a junior setup here, but I was never involved in the junior setup. Probably again, I probably didn't do enough searching into it and looking for it really. So I think pretty much when I turned 17, 18, went up kind of similar to what Fern done, went up, and then that was it. We just hooked in ever since now for the last, come on 10 years now.
Yeah. And in terms of other sports that you played prior, did that help with you going into Gaelic football as well, or were you just naturals, or how long did it take to get used to the sport? I'll go with Fern on this one to
I
start.
don't, I definitely wasn't a natural, never heard of Gaelic football in my life, no Irish connection whatsoever. In terms of sports I've played previously, I've only really like played team sports at school. Um, but yeah, I think I remember my first session. I came out of it thinking, bloody hell, that was intense. But it was one of those things where your adrenaline is like pumped. You're like, never done this, anything like this before. In terms of ability wise, I wasn't physically fit at all, but like it didn't stop you from participating. And um it wasn't like you needed to have some sort of prior knowledge or abilities or skills to get stuck in as well.
Yeah, yeah. What made you, both of you, I guess, what made you stick around? What was it about the sport that you love so much?
Uh,
Do you want to go, Sons?
yeah, I think for me was definitely the social aspect, since especially leaving school, there's not a lot of team sports that you can join without having played it for years and years. And I was missing that side of actually having something to do after work, you know, meeting a group of new people. And when I say like it's a social aspect, I think Gaelic is something that I've never experienced with other team sports in Jersey before. It's really much like a family. And I don't say it lightly, like it's a family. Like honestly, it's turned into something more than just a sports social. Like, you know, we hang out a lot after when it's not Gaelic as well. I mean, a lot of us are going to a wedding at the end of June for the people from Gaelic. So honestly, the social side of it is really good.
Yeah, amazing. Do you agree, Eunan?
Yeah, big time. I think I think the social side is big in for any clubs, but like I said, it's kind of even the trips that we get away. You know, like we get to go on some amazing trips through the year to sometimes across Europe, sometimes through to the UK, and it's just that ties everyone in together at the same time, um, which is a massive factor of it. And also, I think at times people get worried about you know if they were to try a new sport and not be very good at it and just be like, you know, but at the bottom of the pile or just not picking it up from like our point of view, like having played it for so long now and being part of the club for so long, we actually just enjoy seeing more people play like Ireland's national sport. Like, because everyone's probably played football at some level growing up or netball, basketball, rugby, but like Gaelic football is kind of like rooted to Ireland. So when you see people from like all over the world, we have such like a wide range of cultures inside a club now, and like it's just great to see people actually picking up playing Gaelic football and like you know straight in the session finishes right. Okay, what time do you train next week, and how do I get involved in this chat? Like here, take my number, and you just and then I'm saying people are there every week, so you know it's not a lie. You know people are actually enjoying it. So we must be doing something right as a club for people to keep coming back again. You know.
Yeah. Definitely. It sounds great. And um, you touched on trips away there, and the next kind of question topic I want to cover is your favorite memories as part of the club or in the sport. What have been your standout memories?
I think for me anyway, not the year just gone, the year before that, we managed to we had a pretty good side going away over to north of Spain, and we competed over there in the bracket we were placed into, and we ended up coming away with our first bit of silverware in probably I don't know 10, 12 years maybe or something like that, and I was fortunate enough to be captain of the team at the time. Um, the the novelty factor of it was that it was the north of Spain and it rained every single minute from we arrived at the pitch at about 8 in the morning till we left the pitch at 5 that evening. It was unbelievable, but that was our biggest. And I think that at the same time, like with social media nowadays, you had a couple of the younger boys in the group who were putting up pictures on Instagram, you know, capturing the trophy and the team lined out together. And then it was their friends who then seen it like, where were you this weekend? I was like, oh, I was playing Gaelic football in Spain. And from there, I reckon we probably had 2 or 3 new faces just from Instagram posts of people like you know gloating that they were away in Spain playing Gaelic football. You know, so
Yeah,
that was probably my favorite memories.
yeah, sounds amazing. Sounds amazing. How about you, Fern?
I think mine would be the same trip, to be fair, because that was the first, I think, women's European championship away. And I think the memory that stuck out to me was probably our first ever match, because that was the first match that the women's team actually won against. I can't remember what team it was, but I just remember like when we realized actually we won, everyone was cheering like nothing else mattered anymore. Right, we came like we went away to Spain, we won a game, you know, that was a huge improvement for us because unlike the men's team, the ladies team hasn't been established that long. And it was really the first year that like the ladies team took it seriously in terms of going away to compete and really practicing hard, you know, and after years of training, it was kind of like actually, you know, winning our first match was, you know, the best outcome that could have happened from there.
Yeah, definitely. Women's side of things is something that I want to cover today. And how you touched on it there, it's not been established as long as the men's at the club, but how much have you enjoyed the growth on it of the women's side of the game, and how much do you want to see that grow even more as well?
I mean, I think getting women to join a team sport with any sports really is a big struggle. But with Gaelic, we've seen over the couple of years now that the women's team has been established. It's growing quite significantly. Yeah, I remember the first year it was still like 3, 4 ladies training a week, and now we have, 10, probably more some days. Yeah, I think we're definitely still trying to encourage more women to join, because it's one of those sports where you don't need to have no prior knowledge. No, you don't need to be, physically the fittest person in the world to join. You don't need to, know anyone to join as well. But yeah, we do get a lot of women coming up who've never heard of the sport but seen our post on Instagram, etc., and thought, you know what, I'll give something new a try, which is what we love. That's what we want. People to come up and at least try it once. If you don't like it, that's fine. Gaelic football isn't everyone's cup of tea, but it's a great way to, join a team sports, do something new, and yeah, socialize as
Yeah.
well.
How much would you encourage, without me pushing people away from other sports, but
Yeah.
if they're getting bored or finding it repetitive in the same sport, how much would you encourage this as a kind of change as well, and a way to carry on sport in a different sport, I guess?
I mean, I honestly, personally, Gaelic is something that is really important to me, and I heavily encourage it. Like anywhere I go, social events, any new ladies I meet, I always mention, oh, by the way, I play Gaelic football. Have you heard about Gaelic football? I think Eunan can agree as well. Like anywhere we go, Gaelic football is the center of our conversation. It might be cringy to say it's like my personality, but honestly, it is. Um, in terms of like encouraging, we do run 2 sessions. We're starting the second session on Sundays now. So it's not like Gaelic football is taking away time for if you wanted to do other sports, because there is the option there, to try it out, see if you like it. If not, then no worries. It's not like a huge commitment that once you come, you have to get stuck in and come every single week. It's very much relaxed. Come up if you want to train, and if you want to get serious more into it, then, feel free to come up. It's no pressure at all.
Yeah. And the union, how good has the women's side been for the club over the last few years as well, and in the growth of the club as well?
Yeah, big time. The the forming of it, the women's team was tried to be formed a number of years ago before that, maybe when I even first joined the club, and it just didn't really get a whole lot of traction. Whereas from when it was started 3, 4 years ago now, it just seems to have like snowballed. And I completely understand Fern saying at the same time about having low numbers at the start, but I think them girls at the start owe themselves a huge credit in the fact of actually keeping it going. Because without them girls at the start, because there's some people that were there right at the start, and there's a large majority who are no longer there. So like from where it is there to it is now, it's like night and day. But then as a club as a whole, like, you know, it's just more the guys and the girls in the group, they both just get on very well with each other, all like varying ages, different jobs, different backgrounds, but like, you put them on a plane together and everyone's just like best friends on a trip away. So like, and it's massive because 9 out of 10 times the girls seem to be a little bit more organized than the boys. They kind of crack the whip sometimes and get us into shape when we're a little bit, faffing around and not moving because we need to be moving. So in that regard, at the same time, they're also great to have. But it's just as a group and a club as a whole, like all codes, like all other sports seem to have it. So we were missing out on the fact that Gaelic football for a while didn't have it. All back at home in Ireland, you always have men's and women. So we were missing out on it. We were missing out on the luxury of having it. So like now that you have it, it just kind of ties the whole club that bit more together, really.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It sounds fantastic, and I'd encourage anyone, any female, any woman, or any young girl even coming through to go and have a go as well. Um, I want to touch on the men's side as well of things, and how has that grown over the years, and how's that developing as well?
Yeah, so somewhat kind of claim to fame. And my old man started the club with a couple of the boys back 31 years ago now. Um, and back then there was a lot of more Irish people that were in jerseys there was now. So the numbers back then were crazy. You would have had, I know you probably had 20, 25 lads at sessions, all fighting for spots. And as the years went on, people moved back to Ireland, and there was a number of years there when I first started, maybe 8, 9 years ago, where there was only 4, 5, maybe 6 of you at a session, and we really debated folding the club. And when we were going on trips away, you would grasp the numbers just for a trip away because people enjoyed going away to play, but people just weren't making the commitment to come to train. Um, and now there's a couple of us in the club that have been there a little while now. There's Jim Morey, our coach, and Michael Gordon, who's been there just as long as well. And we kind of sometimes just look back and we see the train sessions and we see the thumbs up um, in the group chat for who's all coming, and you just kind of sometimes sit back and think like, when did this click happen? Like when did this all just? It's all like it just fell into place, almost like it felt like we blinked and now we just have 15, 16 men plus at training and 10, 12 women at training, and it's just like it's great to see, and I think like as I mentioned beforehand, it's even just like the people that have no connection to Ireland, or it might be a great grandmother but never played the sport or heard about the sport beforehand, are now playing Gaelic football. Like there's a couple boys who wouldn't have known, probably couldn't point to where Ireland was on a map, who are now some of our best players in the team. So just in that respect, it's growing massively, and I think a lot of people really enjoy it. I think a lot of people who come from Ireland, especially, who are looking for not an escape from work, but no, you're looking for a bit of home comfort and a bit like people that an accent you might recognize, or a jersey that's the same county as you're from. You just little things like that. And even if you don't have that, it's just you might find a friendship in there in a club at the same time. So yeah, it's growing massively, and it's I think it's huge for us all, really.
Yeah, yeah. Well said, and it's good to hear how it's developed and how it's grown, and even saying when it started to now. And yeah, it's amazing to
Yeah.
hear and those kind of stories. In terms, we've mentioned it a lot already, but the social side sounds incredible and a really big reason to join. So, how much, in a way, has, especially, you touched on it there, people joining the island. How good is it to have that escape and that opportunity to go and socialize as well as play sport? I'll go with Fern on this one.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I mean, we are a social club. That's what we brand ourselves to. We're a social sports club. So the social aspect of it is really important. A lot of our socials that we do, we kind of link that with the fundraising for the club as well, because unlike a lot of the sports club in Jersey, we don't get a whole lot of crazy sponsorships and donations and stuff. So yeah, the social side of it is massively important to the club to keep the club going and running. It almost helps as well with the sporting side of it as well, because it allows you to get closer with other team members, getting to know them more outside of the sports. And then that's when I said, like, Gaelic is very much a family, and is because of that social side of it.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I did want to touch on as well is the future goals of the club and the sport as well in Jersey. Where do you want to go, and what ambitions do the both teams have as well, I guess?
So for the ladies, well, and the men, we're gonna be entering again into the European Championship this year. Um, so I think one of the ladies team goal would be coming out with more wins, and taking more ladies over on the trip as well. That is like one really big things that we're trying to push at the moment, is trying to get more trips for the ladies, so that the ladies team can improve. Trying to boost the confidence for the ladies, by going out and playing with other teams and making that connections, and establishments with other Jersey female Gaelic club as well.
Yeah, yeah. How about the men's, Eunan?
Yeah, I think in a pretty similar regard. That we're heading across the European Championships at the end of the year. Got a couple matches lined up with Guernsey now through the year as well. But in the same breath, we would never want to discourage someone from, because I know someone says like European Championships, it kind of sounds big and scary for a sport you never played beforehand. And it's obviously quite a good competition to be involved in, but there's nothing to say that if you were to pick up the sport in the next month that you couldn't then, be selective or something like that. And even if it wasn't this year, it'd be maybe the year afterwards. But there's tournaments, there's games that we've got on through the year that we're aiming to get results at as well at the same time. But the European Championships is the big one for us. And then kind of, and with that, I should probably mention at the same time, we also have it's more that the men's side at the moment for this is we have hurling as well, which is another national sport of Ireland, and we also we're trying to grow that at the same time. So with the kind of numbers growing with football, which is somewhat of a more slightly easier transferable skill sport to play, hurling is another great sport that we play at the same time, and we're getting numbers up for that as well. And they also have European tournaments. So there's a lot of things within the club that you can pick your hand up to and actually, compete in and have a go at. But yeah, in terms of trips away, our usual big one is the European Championship. So I think everyone's kind of hoping for a somewhat a silverware, or at least not a good few more wins this time round anyway.
Yeah, yeah. And how amazing is that, just to say you're playing at a European Championships? Like,
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
even say that, it must be a proud moment for you guys to represent Jersey in it.
Yeah, I mean, for
Absolutely.
me, it was crazy. I mean, I think I was playing Gaelic football for several months, and the club mentioned, oh yeah, we might be going to the European Championship. If any of yous are interested. It wasn't like, oh, because you've only been playing for a couple months. It was more like, if you want to get stuck in and try it, like, why not? Come over. Yeah, like, the thing is, the club doesn't like limit anyone on abilities whatsoever. If you want to come, then come, give it a go, get stuck in, why not? And if you wanted to come and play a couple of games, whatever's in your comfort zone, that's fine, as well. But yeah, I think only having trained at the start for a few months and then going away and then having that win for the ladies team was a bit like, oh my God, I've only, just picked up this sport and I'm already going to, north of Spain to play this against other team. It was crazy, yeah.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. But well, second last question from me today. We've obviously quite encouraged and promoted the sport a lot here and said come along to people, but where and when do you guys train, and how can people get in touch as well?
So we train up at Grainville playing fields on a Tuesday at 6:30. And then we're also now purely down to the amount of numbers that we've got now and people really starting to the cogs are starting to turn, even with new players and seasoned players, I'll say politely, is we're now also doing a session on a Sunday at Grainville as well, which will be at 11 o'clock on a Sunday. So that and you can get involved literally just by turning up. If you turn up, someone will approach you. Like, don't turn up and try and hide away. Like, if you come up to that pitch at that time there, like, you will be seen and you will be dragged over to get involved. And you'll love it. But that's our 2 training sessions, and we're also on Instagram and Facebook. It's just Jersey Irish GAA Club for either of the 2 handles.
Amazing, amazing. Final question from me today, and it's for both of you to answer. Um, describe the sport, what it means to you in one word.
Ooh,
Tough.
do you want to go first, Fern, or me?
I can go first. I think I've said it a couple of times, but honestly, for me, is the one word I would describe Gaelic would be family.
Yeah, nice, nice. Eunan?
Yeah, too much. Mine's probably a lot more simple than that, and family seems like we want to use. It's for me. It's just it's enjoyment or fulfillment. Maybe is what I would use it, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much for joining me today, guys.
Thank you.
It's been really good
You.
to both hear your stories and learn about the sport a bit more as well. Yeah, thank you and good luck with all you're doing in the sport.
Thank
Cheers.
you
Thank you
so much
very
for the
much.
time.
Brilliant, brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.
That was another episode of Sportscast Jersey. Thank you to everyone who's watched or listened to this episode. Another episode is coming soon.